We're just going to talk to this amazing guest about the mental health well being of parents.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching this on, was it E36 TV, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and over 68 live streaming platform. Welcome to the show. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments that you're watching us on. And if you're listening to us live on the radio, syndicated radio show, KCBQ AM 1170 Answer FM 96.1. All you have to do is pick up the phone, dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Michelle, can you please introduce the title of the show? Can you please introduce the purpose of the show? And can you please introduce this absolutely amazing guest that we got?
Yes, well, the title of today's show is The Urgent Need to Support Parents' Mental Health and Well-Being. And we're having a conversation with Dr. Balanae Durr. She's a board-certified psychiatrist with more than 20 years of experience in child, adolescent, and adult psychiatry. She's going to discuss how parents' mental health impacts their children's well-being, what the various pressures that lead to stress, depression, anxiety, and burnout, the importance of accessible mental health resources for parents to manage their stress and well-being, policy changes that promote parents' mental health and well-being, and long-term benefits of supporting parents for their children and the community. Dr. Balanae Durr, she's provided care largely to the vulnerable, uninsured, and underserved in a variety of clinical settings. She has a groundbreaking role in providing telepsychiatry services for almost a decade and provided lectures to medical providers and taught students in physician assistant and nurse practitioner programs. Dr. Balin was selected as Top Executive Producer and Psychiatrist of the Year 2024 by the International Association of Top Professionals for her outstanding leadership, dedication, and commitment to the industry. There's so much to tell you about this amazing guest, so please welcome back to the show, Dr. Balanae Durr.
How you doing, Dr. Balin? How you doing today? Well, let's do it the right way.
Yeah. I'm doing great. And thank you so much for having me back, especially to have this urgent, essential conversation about parents' mental health and their well-being, and then how that is impacting our kids.
It's impacting a lot. You know what? My heart is broken because we have seen this happen many, many times this year.
Mm-hmm.
With kids and and the parents. And we just had a case like this, Dr. Bell, about 8 months ago, maybe a little less than that, where the parents bought the kid, a minor, a first of all, F-56 and whatever type of rifle that is, uh, a minor. And
They're actually oftentimes using an AK-15, if I'm saying it right, but it's that style of rifle, and that's what was used in Georgia recently.
and my thing is this and this just my thought process. I understand what Michelle said. Hey, it's the norm in a lot of part of the country to go out and get your kid a hunting rifle or something like that. But an AK-15, I mean, what are you hunting? I mean,
It's a military weapon. It's a military weapon that was altered and then promoted for civilian use. So it's not appropriate.
So my question to you, first of all, let's get off into I didn't one all off because
Especially for kids.
But tell our viewers that might have not listened to you. You've been on the show many, many times and hosted my show a couple of times. A little bit about you, where you grew up, why you're so passionate about what you do. Just give them a quick synopsis of who Dr. Balanae Durr is.
Well, I'm from and live in the Chicago area, and my desire and decision to become a child and adolescent psychiatrist was really driven by my own desire to understand and make sense of my own childhood, because some of it was great, but some of it was painful, difficult, and confusing. And while I initially went to medical school to be an OB-GYN because I love the idea of bringing life into the world, when I did the rotation, I was like, I don't want to be a surgeon. God, what you got for me next? And it turned out to be psychiatry because I got to spend time talking with patients, and the energy and the flow was really suited to me. I'm like, yeah, this is my flow here. And I'm really passionate. And you said that your heart was broken. For me, I tell you, I'm really fired up, frankly, about what is happening with people and their mental health and how it just it's on fire at this point, and we keep pretending like it's not. So I'm passionate about this work because I know that people are in a lot of pain. They are they're struggling and they feel bad, and frankly, many of them feel awful. So I'm passionate about this work because I want people to feel better, and that means strengthening their brain health, having positive transformative thoughts so that they can demonstrate their infinite potential and fulfill their purpose.
Wow. So Dr. Ballin, parental, I keep bringing this up again because I believe that our children, whatever we plant into them, from birth, we continue to plant into them. Regardless of hunting, I don't see anything wrong with that if it's legal, but I just have a major challenge in buying a 12-year or 13, 14, a rifle or something like that, and they know everything. They watch the parents on everything that they do. They know the codes to the safe. They know where the keys are at. From how does a parental anxiety impact, I'm talking about their thoughts of making the kid happy, cause a negative effect to the kid? Now, we only got about 1 minute before the break, but can you start that?
Absolutely. So in Matthew 7 through 15 and 20, it essentially says, you will know a tree by its fruit. And if it's an apple tree, you're going to get apples. If it's oranges, you're going to get oranges, but you ain't going to plant an apple tree and get cherries. So it's very much for children. Parents are the foundation of their life, their health, their well-being, and this existence. And if the parents are having problems with their mental health, then the children are going to have problems with their mental health and functioning.
That thought. If a parent is having problems with their mental health, a child more than likely has the potential of having problems with their mental health. We're going to have to take a station break. But as you see, I'm fired up. And as you see, we got the right doctor. I'm not saying that we always had a right doctor, but for this moment, we got the right doctor that's going to help us try to understand a lot of things that we don't understand, especially when it comes to our kids, when it comes to the way they think, when it comes to parenting. So if you want to be part of the conversation, what's your platform that you're watching us on? All you do is just go to that platform, go to the comments, ask any question that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. It's your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
A black.
Hey! Check it out! It's Dr. J.C. Cooley. Hey! Let's go! The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Heaven abounds in you, enlightens, uplifts, inspires, and invites you to live a life that's engaged, joyous, and limitless, the sweet spot of life. Take this journey in oneness. We are and have all that God, the infinite creative source of the universe, is. You are infinite potentiality, and the kingdom of heaven is within you. Heaven abounds in you.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. Come on. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
True Life Coming of Age Story by James J.C. Cooley. Using humor, wit, and engaging storytelling, James paints a picture about his arrival in a rural Deep South town and realization that life would never be the same. Cooley lays out his struggle to adjust from city life to country life and back again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Wait.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and you know what? I tell you, many times, even discussions like what we're having today, it's always good to have some humor, even though it's kind of hard to find it with this, because this is so tragic about mass shooting, 14-year-old. I believe that 14-year-old, you do things like this, and I believe that just the parents, they done ruined that guy's life. I'm talking about by certain type of upbringing that they have instilled in him. And just like Dr. Ballin just said a second ago, the fruit, coming from a tree, it ain't gonna fall too far from the tree, because whatever we instill into our offsprings, and if we don't be the example, if it's a good example, many of the offsprings pick up bad traits. Some of them pick up some good traits. Then they have to make a decision on which direction they're gonna go in, because mom and dad are doing this, and their friends over here that might be doing something differently. And then as parents, we go out and want to be our kids' buddy. We want to make them happy. I want to give them all of these things, where we talk about if you make the wrong choice. I didn't say choices. You can make the bad decision many times you want until you get it right, but you can't make the wrong choice, like what I think that just happened. And I want to get Dr. Ballin's view on that. None of us are experts in raising kids.
Me?
But we do know what's right and what's wrong. So Dr. Ballin, I just gave a quick synopsis. Can you help me out with it? Can you help me out?
Okay, so again, as a reminder, I am a board certified psychiatrist. So I'm actually double boarded. I'm board certified in general psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry with 24 years of experience. And so I've been working with children and parents and families for a very long time. And to give this conversation some context, I want just to share some, just a small number of statistics. One, there are 63 million parents living with children who are under the age of 18 in the United States. Then we also have over 200,000 foster parents in the U.S. as of 2021, and 369,000 kids in the foster care system as of 2022, with a much higher number that actually kind of came through and passed through briefly. Then the Census Bureau is saying that there are about 10 million children, and 7.5 million of them live with a single mom. 2.5 million of them live with single dads, and that's as of 2023. And then other sources rate the single parents up to, almost 11 million, and single parents with kids under 18 as of 2022. So the reason I wanted to share those numbers with you, because it is important to understand or know we're talking about millions and millions of parents and children that are affected by a parent's own impaired mental health and well-being. And actually, the U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy came out with an advisory about parents' mental health and well-being, because he's so concerned. They're showing that 48% of parents find their stress is overwhelming most days of the week, compared to 20% of adults without children. So we're talking about some severe and significant impacts. We are a country where the swimmer is drowning, and either the lifeguard is not there on duty, or the lifeguard is not paying attention. But we're drowning. Another way to say it is the house is on fire. It's a 12-alarm blaze, and the fire department isn't there.
He said that the house is on fire.
The house is on fire.
And the fire.
I'm talking about shooting up from the roofs, coming out the windows.
And there are no firemen.
And if there are some firemen, the water pressure is too low for the water to come out and to be of any help.
So how do we distinguish the fire?
Well, I think how we distinguish the fire, and one of the reasons, I actually wanted to talk about this recent mass school shooting as a way to have this conversation about the importance of parents' mental well-being and how that affects the kids. So one, his mom had multiple drug arrests. Two, the father was known to be verbally abusive, in terms of, verbally abusive, witnessed by neighbors. Also, at times, the mom would lock the kids out of the house and they're banging on the door. So again, the neighbors are hearing and witnessing this.
Oh, hold on one second. Okay. And I have not did a whole lot of research like you have on this. But were there more kids involved?
There were more. He had siblings, and I think it was a total of 3 kids.
And where did he fit in at?
You know what? That part, I don't know where he was in the birth order. So I just know that the kids are highly distressed. They actually had been evicted from their homes in 2022. A lot of times they're dirty, don't have enough food to eat. Again, this is corroborated by neighbors, multiple involvements by Children Protective Services. And so again, this is a demonstration, not a condemnation of the parents, but a demonstration of what happens when children's foundation, i.e. their parents, that foundation is not there, it's absent, or it's broken. The house is going to fall because of an inadequate foundation.
You're absolutely right about that. However, it also depends on the kid, or I'm talking about their mindset, their thought process, and the things that they have observed over a period of time, where if they are aged, they can distinguish what is right and what is wrong, regardless of what the situation or circumstances might be. Now, I'm not saying that this 14-year-old was in that situation. I don't know a whole lot about his parents, were they were still together, were they separated, was the kid with his mom or with dad?
No, they were divorcing. So that's another trauma or another difficulty that's going on. And also what I couldn't tell or find was if he had been bullied or not. So I don't know what difficulties he was having. But again, to keep this in the context of the importance of parents' mental health and well-being, this kid is in survival mode, as I'm sure his siblings are. And what's being demonstrated for them is really highly dysfunctional and harmful behaviors. You know, parents have kind of basically four main responsibilities: provide, protect, nurture, and to be role models. And how do children learn how to be men and fathers, watching the men folk in their families and community? For girls, how do you learn how to become a woman and a mother? Is again watching the women around you. And most people do what they saw and what was done to them. That's what most people, you're given a blueprint as a child, and most people continue to build the same structure. You know, you and I've talked about this before. Some of us get a blueprint for a mansion, some for 3,000 square foot, some for, 800, but some of us get a blueprint for a garage or an outhouse. And many of us, rather than recognizing that we have the ability to say, you know what, I don't like this structure, so either let me tear it down, go to another one, or just, again, tear this sucker down to the studs and start all over or add an addition. Most of the times we just build the structure based upon the blueprint that was given to us.
I like the PPNR, what you just talked about, provide, protect, nurture, and role model. And that's normally the blueprint that we get as kids and as whatever. And you mentioned that sometimes we interpret the blueprint for a outhouse or whatever that might mean, where that's become mindset, I believe. And if we focus in on those type of things, that's where our journey is going. What are your thoughts on that? We got about a minute before the break.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. And it's, again, to me, it's important that folks to know that we're given the blueprint by our parents. And when a parent's mental health is affected, whether it's depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, psychosis, or bipolar disorder, or drug and alcohol abuse, that is going to affect them both biologically in terms of even the eggs and the sperm that come together to create that kid, but also impairs their functioning and ability to fulfill those roles of providing, protecting, nurturing, and being positive, healthy, functional, independent role models.
Wow. This is so interesting, Dr. Ballard. We're going to have to take a station break, but I want to come back and pick it up and talk a little bit more about the PPNR, provide, protect, nurture, and role models, and try to identify some of the things that we can do or think about to help get back on the right path. I ain't talking about us, I'm talking about kids. And I tell you what, our audience out there, I know you got a lot of great ideas. Why don't you be part of the conversation? All you have to do is pick up the phone, make it easy, dial 1-888-344-1170, or go to the platform that you're watching us on and go to the comments. That's any question that you might have. Dr. Ballard, myself, and my man Todd will get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Craving a slice of Chicago right here.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, I hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
We live in a world today that people don't even care about how people see them. Don't realize that we can affect an entire generation and build our character. But you gotta do it with these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. It's the 4 C's. In this life you are gonna grow, but there's things in this world that you gotta know. To be the best that you can be, you wanna grow real big into a strong tree. To be who you were created to be, the one who's gonna leave a legacy is you. But you got to have these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence.
Dr. JC Cooley, the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. JC Cooley. That's right.
Sir Soul.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. Your life. Now I tell you, this is my sister, my little sister, Dr. Ballinger. That's here today, educating us, teaching us, informing us that there's certain things that we need to be aware of, and certain things that we might need to understand a little bit, that our kids, not just our kids, but others around us are watching everything we do. I mean, we might not even think that it's happening that way, but I tell you, I can surely say that your kids are watching what you do, and you are formulating, in my opinion, I believe, Valen is a psychiatrist, I'm a PhD, but she's a psychiatrist, that we need to be cognitive about a lot of things that's going on. And I kind of like, and I just kind of took her phrase, the PPN role models, which is positive role models, that we need to be concerned, because finally, if I remember correctly, the first piece, provide shelter, provide nurture, provide safety, provide all of that, right?
Correct.
Protect means to make sure that we are protecting, just like in the hen house, and they protecting the chicks and all. They gonna protect all them, right? Nurture. Sometimes we have to hit them on the hand to nurture them to okay, that's okay. And we also have to feed them the right things and put them in the right environments. Role model, just like I just mentioned a second ago. And you just taught me this yourself, that our kids, our offspring, our people around us, they're going to emulate what we do. If you walk like a duck, you look around, they're going to walk like a duck. And I'm just going to mention this real quickly. Been a couple of studies that's been out, Sigmund Freud, all this. When you take a person out of their environment and put them in another environment, and you do that at birth, or you do that at relatively young. And they did this with animals. They did this with a cat, and you already know the story. And put the cat in with the chicks, and the chicks around, the little baby chicks and all that, and mother, everybody adopted the cat. Next thing you know, that cat thought he was a chicken, or a little chicken. Everything they did. My point is this: we have to be very careful about the environment we have our kids, our children, our friends, whatever in, and we have to provide the right role model picture, because they're going to act just like we do, and hopefully we are doing the right things. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Bell?
Well, absolutely. And I also want to, kind of set a framework in terms of from this aspect, which is that I want to remind people that our brains run everything in our bodies except for a few simple reflexes. So how I think, how I feel, what I think, how I feel, what I do, how my body functions is controlled by my brain. So if my brain health is impaired in some way, then something about the way I think, feel, do, or my body functions is going to glitch. So that's why mental health is so important. The other aspect is, here in the US, there's tendency to be the kind of the individual and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But how do you pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you don't have any? And this belief, like everything we're compartmentalized and nothing is affecting or interacting with the other. And it's absolutely not true. We are interdependent, connected to and interdependent upon each other. And nowhere is that more true than with children and their parents. So again, we're talking about the urgent need and importance of parents' mental health and how that impacts children. And again, the CDC is saying that 1 in 14 kids has a caregiver with poor mental health. So we're talking about over 700,000 kids that have a caregiver whose mental health is poor. And when children have a caregiver, whether it's a parent or grandparent, because we got a lot of grandparents raising kids, or foster care or other family members who are raising children, then the kids are more likely to have poor general health in terms of their physical health. They're also going to have impaired mental, emotional, and developmental disabilities. Meaning, again, part of parenting is you talk to your kids and you interact with them and you help them grow and develop and expose them to activities. So if you're impaired, you're depressed, then that's really not going to happen. Then the kids are also just more at risk and subject to have more adverse childhood experiences like exposure to violence, family disruption like divorce and breakdowns, and live in poverty. Some of the things that we talked about in terms of this 14-year-old in this school shooting. So it's parents' mental health and well-being, it's critical. They're also, when parents have mental health challenges, again, such as depression or anxiety or drug and alcohol abuse and, schizophrenia, things like that, you can't fulfill those roles. And then again, there's a lack of resources and support, and that actually worsens the parent's mental health. Wow. Again, the children can inherit those illnesses, those mental illnesses and vulnerabilities, living in unsafe environments, and face discrimination and again, neglect and deprivation. And I wanted to share this. It's a really old study, like decades old, but it so speaks to what happens when children are not nurtured. When I say nurture, yes, setting limits and boundaries, but it's also loving on children and loving them unconditionally, that you're wonderful and deserving just because you exist. So this study that was, again, it's more than 20 years old, but what they did is they had the little baby monkey and they had 3 mother figures. One was a wire figure that had a cloth wrapped around it. One was a wire figure with no cloth, and then there was a third one. But the whole point was that the more of and there was no mother figure. The third one is what it was. So you got the mother figure, the wire figure wrapped in cloth, the mother wire figure with no cloth, and then no mother figure. And what they saw in that study was that the monkey's behavior got more abnormal, more aberrant, the less of a mother figure there was. So it was the best with the mother wire figure wrapped in cloth, because of course that they could rub on that and there was some soothing. But by the time they got to no mother figure, their behavior was so abnormal. So we should not be surprised when we see our children behaving in the ways that they behave when their parents are struggling and are unhealthy and lack functioning behavior. You see with children, you see problems with their behavior, with their self-esteem, with their social skills and ability to have healthy relationships. And again, they lack problem-solving skills and resilience when their parents have mental health problems.
Hold that thought. And what we're talking about, we're getting ready to go to a break, but when we're talking about the urgent need to support parents' mental health and well-being, and I tell you, Dr. Bellin is laying it out there, but the parents need to understand as well. So I tell you what, if you want to be part of this conversation, because we're going to continue, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching this on, ask any question in the comments that you have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
A black man's book.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
Craving a slice of Chicago right here in Temecula wine country? Then dive into legendary Chicago deep dish style pizza at Rosati's Pizza Pub. Piled high with gooey cheese, rich tomato sauce, and your favorite toppings, Rosati's delivers the taste of the Windy City right to your table or front door. Enjoy the cozy pub atmosphere and an impressive selection of Temecula wines. Come on down to Rosati's Pizza Pub for your slice of Chicago right here on Rancho California Road, or order online at myrosatis.com. Rosati's, where Chicago deep dish pizza meets Temecula charm.
Let's go. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, Dr. Ballin, what she is delivering to us, I said deliver, meaning that she worked the last week or so to formalize and also to look at current situations that are happening right now that affect us all, as parents, as citizens, as people, as communities. When we have tragedies like this, it brings everybody together, we hope. So I want to thank you so much, Dr. Ballin, for everything that you're doing and this great conversation that we have. You know, hey Todd, I know I missed the last segment with you, but can you give me 30 seconds, let's your thoughts on the discussion today?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a very impactful show today. You know, you could probably do part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 of this show, and I'm grateful that you have Dr. Ballin on to kind of just put a little perspective on this, so we can kind of grasp this unfathomable thing that's going on in our country right now, in the world, really. So let's get right back to her.
Well, we plan on doing multiple segments if her time brings us. So, you know, so Dr. Bell, now you talked about situations, and I'm gonna share something real quickly with you. Grandparents and aunts and everybody stepping in, and sometimes that does whether that they are nurturing a disservice, but sometimes it does them a great service. And I can only say about me, I was passed to my aunt and uncle, my grandmother, and all that, and I can say sometimes your current situation is not your final destination, and you can get joy, you can get guidance, you can get placed on the right path to whatever the negative path that you might have been on, but a person have to want to and have to be willing to learn. You know, so I just thought I'd say that. I want to bring Dr. Michelle Cooley into this conversation because I mean everything that you've been talking about need support for parenting, their mental health and well-being, because their mental health and well-being had to be on par in order to be able to provide the right leadership and guidance for others. Michelle Cooley, you on mute.
Dr. Ballin.
Yes, ma'am.
With these situations, it doesn't matter if it's let's say a school shooting, it could be anything. Is it possible in a lot of situations where the parent is unfairly, or they feel like they're unfairly targeted or blamed for the behavior of their children, and that can cause, you know, stress or depression? Now, you can raise, let's say if you have 3 children and you raise them all 3 different ways, but you still raise them with love. Isn't it possible that that one child, for whatever reason, is doing things that is not conducive to the safety of others as well as their family? And when a parent is getting blamed for the behavior of their child, how does that affect them when it's done unfairly? Can you kind of comment on that?
Well, you know, absolutely, we can have a family that has certain values and certain standards, and you can have a child or children that says, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not following those. I'm going off on my own way, doing my own thing. And, there is, and obviously we don't want to hold parents responsible for those kinds of decisions. And by and large, that's not what happens. By and large, especially now, what you've seen here recently is parents being held responsible for basically aiding and abetting their children with these mass shootings by buying them guns, and then not warning the school in one instance where the parents were aware that the child was making some kind of threats. So I think that's different than what you're speaking of, Dr. Michelle. But obviously we don't want, people have to be held responsible for their choices.
Mm-hmm.
Including children. That's one of the things that we responsible for teaching them as parents and as the community and society, is that every time you take an action, you create a result, and you're responsible for your choices and your results. So I don't. We obviously don't want to hold the parents responsible unfairly, but we also want to. But we do want to hold them responsible when it is. And I just, if we could, I was hoping too that we could just mention, like I said, parents are highly stressed,
Mm-hmm.
and what some of those stressors look like, and again, the effects on the kids. So for the parents, those stressors are things like, their finances. A lot of people are working poor, meaning they work, but they don't make enough money to take care of themselves and their families, and they don't actually have sufficient health benefits or other benefits. So when those crises happen, then they fall further into poverty, because now they're having to pay cash for health expenses, which is one of the biggest reasons why people get into financial difficulties to go bankrupt. Then the other stressors for parents are the kids' health and safety, the time demands of taking care of them and transporting them, navigating the tech and the social media, the youth mental health crisis itself, and also the epidemic and lonely crisis that parents are experiencing. And then, of course, those parents and their mental health are disproportionately affected by things like violence, poverty, racism, and discrimination. And that's what, there's a study that shows parents spend at least 30 hours a week taking care of kids. That's a full-time job. And I've seen another one that's upwards for 97 hours a week for a mom taking care of kids, which would be equivalent to over $100,000+ salary.
Wow. We're down to the last 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ballin, can you tell our viewers and our listeners, because they locked in on what you're saying and everything is true, how they can get in touch with you? How can they enlist your services? Because there are many, many families that are having issues and concerns, and just probably just watch this show and want to get some more information.
So absolutely. So one of the things too, and I just wanted to mention some of the changes. Again, we mentioned the kids are harmed by, their behavior. They act out. Their academic performance can be impaired. Again, they lack the ability to have healthy relationships when what they've witnessed is dysfunctional relationships, and then having their own mental health crisis of depression and anxiety and other impairments. One of the things that we as a society need to do is that parents need to have a living wage. They need to have benefits. They need to have access to reliable mental health care and secure, affordable child care.
And they need all that. How can they get in touch with you?
Okay. How you can get in touch with me is you can actually reach out to me at 708-365-8286. Again, 708-365-8286. My website is my name, Ballin, Balin, middle initial A, last name Durr, DURRMD.com. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, social media, LinkedIn, IG,
We'll make sure
under my
we get
name,
all that.
YouTube.
Hey, Dr. Ballin, thank you so much for coming on the show. You know you're coming back. Dr. Michelle, thanks so much. Todd, thanks so much. Our listeners, thank you so much. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back next week with more It's Your Life with Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll see you then.
Cooley, show.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams